Well, good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome all of you and also thank you for taking about 30 minutes out of your day today to join us. Uh, I hope that you get one or two things maybe out of today's presentation. We have a wide scope of agents on this webinar from experience to no experience, but we do hope that at the end of this segment that you'll at least have the confidence to reach out to us, to me personally, to discuss further of how to get started with annuity sales. If you do have any questions throughout, I think we'll just type them in if you don't mind, due to the large crowd here today, and then we'll get to them, but we'll definitely follow up. But again, my goal for this whole thing is just to give you a base understanding and a confidence to be able to know a little bit about annuity sales, but then also just to reach out to us knowing that we're your backroom support and we're here to help you. So we'll get started here. So the toughest thing on anything different or new is getting started with a diet or getting started with whatever you want to talk about. But in this case, if you haven't added annuity sales to your practice, it's going to be a hurdle for you. If you have a big med-sup book, but you've never really asked your clients about money and situations, it's tough. But some of the first thing, and believe me, we are here to help with any of these things, but you do have to have E&O. I know some folks that don't carry E&O, but this E&O coverage is a must. And anytime that there's contracting involved, there's going to be some requirements with your licensing. We're here to help you with that. We have a great contracting department here, and they're here to assist you to get you started and kind of get off on the right foot of making sure that you're ready to go solicit business. So in the last bullet there, you'll see really each product of the carriers typically will have their own agent training, and that's not a big deal. Typically what you're looking at there is a slideshow, which is very informational about the product, and it's merely signing off on it. And then typically that's your training for each product of each carrier. But we're here to help you with that. Okay, there is no magic bullet for getting started or even selling annuity sales, but I strongly feel that one of the best avenues is that initial question. Just getting started with your client on the right foot as far as asking one simple question, getting you going in a direction of knowing what you're going to do with this client. And it's right off of our client needs assessment. We have a CNA, like most of you probably do, that you utilize. And the question is just this, and it's very, very simple. Are you satisfied with the present rate of return of your investments? Now, I asked that question, and I've done this personally, so I'm not saying something that I haven't done myself, but just asking that question alone to a senior, they're going to start talking about it. So I'm not getting into details of anything other than, are they satisfied with where their money is? Are they satisfied with their investment right now? But when I ask this question and they start talking, I'm going to soon know where their money is and really if they're pleased where it is or not pleased. But we're going to get a great indication of what direction that we're going to go next. Regardless of how they answer, and I've asked this myself, it's been field tested, and I also listen to other agents utilize the same question, but the client's going to start talking, and they're going to tell you probably more than you want to know at some point, but they're going to tell you the direction, or at least where the money is currently located, which is going to give you the direction. When it comes down to it, there's two basic places, with excluding burying it in their backyard. It's either going to be in the market in some form, or it's going to be in the bank. And when you're talking to them, if that money is in the market, that's an opportunity for you to talk about. And I don't know how many of you closely follow the stock market, but 2022 has been off to a rough start. And each day it is truly a roller coaster, from way negative swings into even a positive and vice versa. So when you find out that they have money in the market, you can immediately start talking about risks. And most of the time when their money is in the market, not all the time, but a lot of times, they are paying fees for someone to manage that money. And the second part of that is the money in the bank. In typical conversation of that goes, yeah, I've got money in a CD and it's paying 0.1%. And I've had that in there and it's not growing anything. It's getting no interest. It is in the bank. So I feel safe about that. But my interest rate is terrible. So that first question is taking me in a lot of different directions, and I can start to establish the direction that I'm going to present to them. These are kind of just different areas that were, so it's going to seem a little scattery here. So the question is my go-to, right off the CNA, gets everything going. Another avenue, if you don't have that client in your office or you're not seeing them at their home, to even go through a client needs assessment or to ask that question in casual conversation, a couple avenues to think about doing here. Okay, the first one, and this is just a letter. You can construct this, update it, put it in your comfort zone, but the goal of a client letter, and these generally speaking are successful when you're sending this client letter to your current client base. So I'm not talking about leads, not talking about a cold letter, but I'm talking about established clients for me that I really haven't done anything with on the financials whatsoever. I may just have their med sup, or I may have a final expense or any kind of life insurance, but now I'm going to try to explore some avenues to help them with their investments. So this letter, really the hot topic on the letter is market unrest, which, and again, if you're following the market, there's no better time than to stimulate your clients' interest in talking about market unrest, because if they have money in the market, they're very familiar with the unrest. And then the other, I don't want to use this loosely, but catch terms, but accurate terms, and what they can read and see and feel are guarantees and safety. Those are two biggies right now. So if they're in turbulence of market, there's risk there. But if they can know that, and they know you, and again, this is not a cold letter, and they know you, and you really what we're looking to do is to stimulate conversation, is to have a desk display. So this is one that is used from time to time. Our folks here at Sam's Hockaday, it simply has an interest rate in these pictures that I'll let self-explanatory, the tortoise and the hare story.
Hang on.
Yep.
I think we're frozen up.
Uh-oh.
You guys hear us right now?
Yes, we can hear you, but
Okay, our camera is out. We're gonna have to go
we'll just go
just
Sam.
voice.
I have a face for just voice anyway, as some of you've already picked up on. So I don't know where it froze.
They can still see the
Still
screen
see
now.
the screen? Okay, good. So you're still seeing the screen. But this is a desk display that you're filling out the MedSup app or cancer plan, whatever it is at your desk. And this is just staring your client in the face, kind of in the, as you're filling out phase of an application. So it surprisingly stirs up a conversation about money. I've had more comments, and then we've had agents use a deviation of this, but just the bottom line is just kind of creating a conversation based on a desk display. Okay, who's a qualified prospect? And again, this is not limited to what we're about to show you here. This would just be maybe a start as far as like, who do I even talk to about their investments or what have you? So next slide there, Jason. These are opportunities in talking to someone about their money, but people who have changed jobs that have an old 401k. So it's very common 1K. So it's very common. And maybe somebody from ADM is newly retiring, whatever the company is, but that company is no longer going to make contributions to that person's 401k, their retirement plan. So those are prime candidates. Those funds are managed by whoever, like an ADM or a Staley's or a whatever it might be. They're going to no longer be contributing. So a lot of people are going to want to move those funds and not have that particular company manage them anymore. So that's a great opportunity for you to get involved in and to move or roll over and transfer their 401k. Another one is clients who have money, and I'm not really losing value. To me, losing value, and a lot of times if they have a good sum of money in a bank account and it's not getting any interest, that's losing value in our eyes. Also, that they've got this money in it they're not using, or they just don't know what to do with. And again, you're going to kind of get that through your conversation with your client that you discovered that has bank money. And then lastly on this slide, which is really hot right now, obviously I'm going to beat a dead horse, but the volatility of markets, the fluctuation, they're not very stable. People were anticipating this even, and not to be political whatsoever, but we had a lot of people not knowing how the election was going to go and then what their forecast was. But the overall flavor, attitude of it was potential for volatility, roller coaster, and they just don't want to do that. They are in the preservation side of things now. They're at that age that they just can't afford that big loss, not going to have time to recoup it. So that is a prime candidate for who's qualified as a prospect. Types of accounts, and we're just going to brush on this. I know I've got about 3 slides on this, and this is kind of hard to pick up on, but then just focus, and it's not. And some of you are veterans on the call, I would imagine. But 2 types of monies are qualified, number 1. The second is non-qualified. In a nutshell, qualified money, to however help you to remember it is, it's qualified to be taxed. So whenever that money is accessed, it's qualified to be taxed. Another way to state it is this money, you've never paid taxes on this money before. Okay, so it's qualified now to be taxed whenever the money is being taken by the client. Non-qualified, that's money that's in an account that you've already paid the taxes on. Okay, so you can see on the screen some examples of both sides. If you go to the next slide, Jason, kind of drilling down on it of qualified money. And again, I'm being a little bit repetitive. Typically, you can move that qualified money from wherever it is. It could be in a bank, in an IRA, it could be in the stock market and funds at an AG Edwards or whoever it might be, annuity. But they can move that money over to one of your annuities without you taking any distribution, meaning the client taking distribution, and you can make that a non-taxable event. Okay, so there's going to be some more fine tuning on that, but I'm just kind of giving you an overview. But the gist of it is, don't get scared of qualified money. Don't let the client say, well, if I move it over to your product, I'm going to get taxed on it. Okay, so that's not a true statement. Okay, then the next one, on kind of drilling down on non-qualified, again, this is money that your client has already paid the taxes on. So typical form of that is a money market, a savings account, CD, a lot of times bank money. Okay, so a lot of times you're looking at money that's just sitting in the bank. Your customer has already paid taxes on that. Okay, types of product, and I focus in on this one more than what I just showed you. So we don't deal in a variable annuity. So here's what we're looking at, what fits our client. We're either looking at a MIGA, as you're going to hear people talk about, which simply is a multi-year guaranteed annuity, or you're going to look at an FIA, which is a fixed indexed annuity. Okay, next one. Okay, let's go with MIGA. And you can't say this in a presentation, but if you want to think about it as an agent, really what you're looking at is almost a CD with a lot higher interest rate, and it does grow tax deferred. But what a MIGA is going to offer your client is a guaranteed rate. First bullet right there, it's going to be a set, say 3% rate for a set period of time. Largely, these programs are offered anywhere from a 1-year annuity, say up to a 10-year annuity. The sweet spot, what I would say our agents sell the most of typically, and I don't have 2-year up there. We have a really hot 2-year annuity, but anywhere from 3 to 5 years, it seems like 5-year by far is the most common with a MIGA. And you are going to see, especially when you've stirred up that conversation and you discover CD money, these are going to yield a much higher return than any CD, and they do grow tax deferred. For FIAs, fixed indexed annuities, largely they're offered from 5 to 10 years. We have a really nice company that offers a 14-year, but in the sweet spot, you're looking at 5 to 10 years, and I wouldn't doubt that like a 7 and a 10 are the most popular at this time. But we do have some people that are a little bit younger that like to get out there, and they like the concept of it. It may have an income rider, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but they do like the prospect of locking it in for 14 years and not really having to worry about it. The agent has explained the program to them and what the liquidity features are and things of that. When you're looking at an FIA, this is not a bullet point, and you'll see the last bullet about sharing and indexing options, such as an S&P. But the bottom line on an FIA, and I'll say it, I hope I say it very clear, your client can share in the market gains. So when the stock market is doing good, they're going to share in those gains, but they're not going to share in the losses like what we're experiencing right now. So market gains without downside risk. That sounds like a cliche, but there's a lot of people that are in FIAs right now that did it at the end of the 2021 that are very thankful for that right now, because in an FIA, you're not losing any money. You may get a 0 in a year, but you're not going to lose any money like some folks are in the stock market presently. The S&P, I know I've shown up there on the bullet. That's a pretty common index for really about all of our FIAs. And don't hold me to this, but I was told this, and I think you can Google it and check my facts here. But since the S&P, since about 1905, over the course of time, it's still a double-digit return on the money. There's going to be some ebb and flow to it, but you can Google that and see, and one of our prime FIAs is tied to the S&P 500 in a lot of their allocations. Okay. So we've done a lot so far, but now I'm getting a little bit nervous as an agent that's new to this. And again, my hope is that you'll reach out to me, that you've never written an annuity, and that we'll kind of lock arms and work together to kind of get you going, and I'll coach you even further. But how do we figure out what's right for your client? Okay. This is not exclusive to this, but pretty generally speaking, if you think about this is pretty accurate, I would think. If it's an older client, maybe I sent that letter to, and they're just looking for a guarantee. They want that 3%. They don't want to take any chances. You're going to give me my 3% over the next 5 years. I'm happy. Okay. So if you have that characteristic for a client, that's going to be a MIGA, multi-year guarantee annuity. Set interest rate, set period of time. They've got a guarantee. Okay. You're going to have that next client that 3% just doesn't do much for them. Okay. So they're thinking, yeah, that's okay, but I'd sure like to do a little bit better, at least have the chance to. That's going to be a prime candidate for a fixed indexed annuity. Okay. So that's going to be a candidate that, again, you can share in the market's upside, but you're not going to share in the downside. So that client, and there's a bunch of them that still that 3% right now is not real attractive to them, that want to try to get a little bit better. Fixed indexed annuity would be the ticket, perhaps. You're going to have that new customer. They've never had an annuity before. It's almost like oh gosh, annuities. Well, a possible solution would be to offer them a window annuity. That is essentially a 1-year annuity. So right now we have a company that's going to give them 1.5% for 1 year. And then after 1 year, they can take that money, they can walk away with the money, they can move it into another annuity somewhere. But after 1 year, that's all they're committed to is 1 year. So that's been a real effective tool for people that are leery of annuities and that their money's sitting in a bank doing nothing. The window annuity is a great opportunity to get that first sale for you and to help a person out. And then the fourth bullet there, you got a person retiring, but they want some growth for a few years, and then they're looking at triggering that into a steady income stream. So we have a beautiful FIA, fixed indexed annuity, that has a built-in income rider with 0 fees. We do have some other carriers that do have a fee for an income rider, but the one of our go-tos right now has absolutely no fees for this built-in income rider, and it's definitely been a hot ticket for us. Okay, resources. We're wrapping it up here a bit, but our resources, use us. We have a great website. We have a lot of great material, thanks to Jason, Rebecca, and Misty, our team of marketers here at New Horizons Marketing. I get calls, John Hockaday gets calls, we all do, about how great our material is. And you're getting emails and reminders of webinars because of our team. And I can't emphasize enough how valuable they are, Jason, Rebecca, and Misty, that we're able to offer them to you with materials such as what you're seeing here on the screen right now. All this thing is a little thing we put together. You know, I've got that bank customer that has the CD and they don't want, annuity. Well, this is just a little sheet that you could sit down at the kitchen table and present the comparison between a CD and an annuity. So we would have that available for you. We also offer this to our contracted agents, that we put out periodically a 5-year annuity tip sheet, because that's kind of the sweet spot, the 5-year. So anytime that there's a change, we will get you the new tip sheet. You haven't requested it, but as soon as any of those carriers that you see there make any kind of change, that is getting sent out to you to update you, to keep you in the loop, to keep you in the know as to what is current. So those are just 2 of many, many things that we have to offer you as far as resources. And when I wrap this up, and I'm going to get way ahead of myself here, so I hope everybody's hung on. Coming within the next, I'm going to give myself a little cushion here. It's going to be sooner probably, but within the next 3 to 4 weeks, we're going to have a program that we're partnering with one of our integrity partners, Brokers International, who we've been partners with for past 3 years. Great people, but we're functioning together on this to start. And I'm not going to tell you everything about this. You'll get an email from us to tell you how to get involved. But here's the gist of it. I'm a MedSup agent, and I know this, Kirk, what you said, it all makes sense. I know I have clients that have money, but you know what? I just don't have time to do this. I don't really want to slow down from doing what I'm doing. I'm successful at what I'm doing. I don't really want to learn about it that much, but what can I do? We're going to have a program where I, as that MedSup agent that I just described, can refer that to an in-house expert. This is a trusted in-house expert that you can be on the call with if you want, or you don't have to be on the call, that they will now sell basically that annuity for you. You're going to get a handsome referral fee, and I'm not going to get into all that right now, but it is way more than fair. So that's item number 1. Item number 2, I'm that same, and I'm saying MedSup. We have a wide range of folks out there. Okay, so I'm that guy that I don't have time for this, Kirk, but that's great. You're going to let me, and you trust these people? Yes, I trust them. Okay, so I'm going to listen to the first call or 2. I'm the MedSup agent. I'm going to listen to them, talk to my client. After I do this about 3 or 4 times and this expert is making sales, I'm going to say, Kirk, okay, I've listened to 4 sales now. I can do this myself. And you know what? I want to take the time to do that. Not a problem. You will then branch off from being the referral type agent to now it's yours. I mean, it's going to be your program. This is all going to be on a website. You're going to see things. It's going to be all transparent. It's a program that I have been presented with this before by other groups that I have never bit on. This one I feel really good about because of flexibility. And let me just back up a little, and I don't want to oversell because, again, you're going to learn more about this as time comes on. But when I am listening to that expert sell my client, because I wanted to be involved to kind of see how it's going, and then I finally tell that expert that I can do this on my own, we're going to have a team that can still be on board and kind of be your assistant coaches. Because there's going to be, even though when you break off and you're ready, there's going to be some questions and hurdles, but we aren't going to abandon you just because you branched out. So that's all I'm going to say on this program that's coming. But I am truly excited about this. I've been approached with this on other entities before, but the partnership that we have with Brokers International and the people there, I have 100% trust in and put my name on it. So I want to thank everybody today. I know it might have went a little bit long here and apologize for the video. Hopefully that you got a little bit out of the audio here, but I know we'll have some questions as they come. I'll see any questions that will come in. You want me to take any now or just?
Do you want to?
Okay, let's take a couple questions.
Okay, what's the financial difference between FIA, annuity, and IUL besides that it's a life insurance policy that one must qualify for?
Financial difference. I'm not sure exactly what that question means on financial difference. The IUL, I mean, you're talking about a life insurance policy of which you have to go through underwriting, like an exam and medical records and such as that. Fixed indexed annuity, the only underwriting would be suitability. So there's no health doesn't matter. And I don't know if that's really the question of it.
Yeah.
But that person that asked that, maybe you want to give me a shout and I'll understand it better. I apologize.
Okay, Chris just wants to know if the slides will be sent out. Yeah, Chris, we will send those. And recently took an annuity CE class. The instructor said with the new suitability rules, if you did not hold a security license, you cannot roll or transfer from a qualified plan if the client was in a security-based 401k.
Yeah, I'm not going to get in the weeds with that, but we'll talk about that. But on surface, that is not true. I can't, in our files right now, when I say my files, when I look at one of our key carriers, if I took my first screen of just say 10 cases, I bet you at least 8 of them are 401ks. But there might be more to that question than meets the eye.
Okay, given an environment where interest rates are definitely going to increase, is there a MIGA with a floating rate to meet competitive pressures?
The short answer would be no. So a MIGA is set up with a set interest rate, a fixed interest rate for a set amount of time. So that's why a lot of agents that write MIGAs, they opt for the 2-year or 3-year, maybe some 5-year, a lot of them 5-year, but not really stretch out any farther than that typically. So, but the answer to that would be no.
Okay, what is the free withdrawal on the MIGAs?
Yep, great question. Free withdrawal, very popular. And that would be product specific. So we will have some MIGAs that will have a 5% free withdrawal. We will have some MIGAs that will have a 10% free withdrawal. That's your typical 5 or 10%. A lot of MIGA companies right now you're going to see will have a base rate. So let's just say the base rate is 3.15, which it is with one of our base carriers. And they, for their 10% free withdrawal, they charge you 0.08 rider reduction to that base rate. So now you're looking at 3.07 as a rate. But short answer is most typical is a 5% or 10%. You get to do that after year 1. You do that 1 time a year. So it's not where I can just peck in there and kind of take 2% here and then another 3%. It's a 1-time withdrawal for that particular percentage after year one. Pretty common on that one.
Okay, disclosing annuity commissions, helpful things to say to clients.
Yeah, so when you sell, when it's qualified money now, there's a form called a PTE 8424 that we're not fiduciaries, we're insurance agents, so we can use this form. Every carrier is going to have it, and it's only for qualified money. You don't submit this to the carrier, it's for your file, and it will simply have a question on there of what your commission was, and you're divulging that to the client. But I will tell you this, and I've sat in on enough of them helping agents and myself. When they ask about you making money, of course you make money, but the money that you make comes from the insurance company. It doesn't come from them. It doesn't come from their principal, their deposit, however you want to word it. You get paid. I'm kind of giving you coaching here. You get paid by the insurance company, not by them. So contrastly, by someone that charges fees, a brokerage, a AG Edwards or whoever it might be, you know, they're fee based. You are not, and that takes out of the client's account. You're not taking out of the client's account. The insurance company is paying you. Anything else?
Yeah, Jeff says, I'm in the Villages, Florida. Are there people down here to be in person as partners?
In person is as like a agent partner?
I'm not sure.
Call whoever that was that typed that in. Just give me a shout on that. We can talk about that. But I have a few people live out there actually.
Okay.
I don't know if they're agents, but
we've got one more. What
One more.
carriers have window annuities that are 1 year?
yeah. And I wasn't going to get in really in naming any carriers just on this webinar, but whoever wrote that in, just shoot me an email. You got my email, or you can call me, and then I'll give you the whole scoop on it. We have a few, but I can kind of point you in that direction. We have some that aren't offered in every state, so that's why I'm a little reluctant of getting too specific on. Sorry for being evasive on some of these, but really wasn't going to mention any carriers today.
Yeah, and to build on that, sometimes we post these to YouTube, and anything we post that's very specific goes out of date pretty quick too. So
yeah,
keep that out of it. So
we good there?
Mm-hmm.
Again, thank you. We had a great attendance today, best we've had ever, and we do appreciate that. At New Horizons, we appreciate all that you do. And honestly, as corny as this may sound, and I've said it to some of you that are probably on this, but we want to help you help as many people as you can. And when we're helping people, we know it's a great thing. And obviously you're going to be compensated for helping people. That's the compensation is just a byproduct from doing good and helping people in their needs. So again, thank you for everyone participating today. And you'll see some follow-ups and some of the things that I mentioned there at the end with that new program. Thanks again, everybody.